coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, northeast a little bit, as we have moved to Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis as the 2022 Big Ten Media Days continue. We're very, very fortunate to have Indiana Athletic Director Scott Dolson with us. Yesterday we were fortunate to talk to Coach Allen, A.J. Barner, Taiwan Mullen. Cam was on with us. A lot of great kids, very well spoken. That's one of the best comments that we had. Those guys were so well spoken, so the great kids, and we know that that's been kind of the mantra for Tom. The kids that he has, and I shouldn't call them kids, the young men that he has in there, have all been great young men. And I know that winning's got to come too, but starting with the great young men, that's a great starting point.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Jim. I mean, we're really, really fortunate. And those three that you mentioned just are really, they personify really our whole team in terms of what Tom is trying to do, how he builds from within, the whole LEO culture. And I just couldn't be more proud of those guys and how they represent us. And really, for that, just to see them up here for this is a huge deal up here, as you know, today. And just having them represented us is huge. And could be more proud of them.
Dustin Schutte joining us as well. Welcome back,
Hi,
Dustin. Got Scott here with us. But in the Big Ten Media Days, first of all, having in Indianapolis, I'm selfish because for obvious reasons. But being here at Lucas Oil Stadium last year, we were all like, "Wow, this is incredible!" But this is just such a great environment, and I hope that it stays here. And again, I know I'm being a little selfish because we live here, but the environment is perfect.
I couldn't agree more. And obviously, I'm partial too in terms of being an Indiana person, but I'd say Indianapolis just shines, and what they do here with making certain that whatever they host, whatever it is first class. And this is just a perfect example of that. And I give all the Indiana Sports Corporation, Eric Newberger, who's one of our alums, who runs Lucas Oil Stadium. It's just going to be better, and it's a great deal for the Big Ten, but obviously just in what it shows in terms of everyone else around the country, what Indianapolis does in terms of hosting major sports events.
Indiana football, of course, is not too far away. We've got the stadium enclosed. We've got to get the fans back out. Planning anything different this year? Are they doing anything? You guys, I know you're always have something going on.
Yeah, first of all, we're really excited. Our fans are excited. Our season ticket renewal rate is awesome. We're really, really well. I think people are excited again, ready to get back. Last year was kind of a re-entry year coming off of COVID, and now I think we're getting back into the rhythm. In terms of exciting things, we're really, really trying to build on our customer service. We talk about it a lot. It's not a silver bullet, one thing that you say that we're trying to do that is going to be a real noticeable thing, other than we're just continually talking about how we can make certain our fan experience, in addition to the game, which is what everyone's there to see, is as good as anybody does anywhere. And that's really important to all of us, that our customer service is great.
And that is one of the things I've not understood is, even though winning always helps, but for whatever reason, people should just come out to a football game, man. Just come out. There's only 6 of them, because there's a lot of other programs I've been around or whatever, and they, didn't always have the top winning percentage. You don't have to be Ohio State. It's just come out to. It's fun coming out to a football game. I mean, the enjoyment of tailgating and seeing people. That's what I wish more Indiana fans would enjoy.
Yeah, I'll say, I've been around for a long time, and I've seen the fluctuations up and down in terms of overall attendance. But all in all, our football fans, I think, probably don't get as much credit as they deserve in terms of how strong they are. We've got a great core, and that core isn't. At times people think maybe the core is aging and it's an older group, which we need that demographic as well. But we've got a great support base of kind of the next generation of fans coming in. And it is hard because sometimes people will talk about the tailgating. You got to get more people into this thing. And sometimes there's more people outside tailgating. But part of that's what makes us unique. I mean, it's such an unbelievable college atmosphere all around. And I know Tom and I talk a lot about doing everything we can to make certain it's as exciting inside the stadium as it is outside. But we just appreciate all of our fans' support. And as I said, our football fans probably get sometimes a tough rap because I think they're really, really good and have been incredibly supportive through thick and thin. They really have.
I had fun when I was in school. I can tell you that. It was fun. Dustin, don't
I was
ask.
just
He's going to
yeah, I
ask
was
you
gonna
what your favorite seafood restaurant is. Probably that's what you ask every. He has Tom and every player,
Well-
and Tom doesn't like seafood. You didn't get much help with that, did you?
I didn't get much help. Taiwan helped me a little bit. I got good Memphis. I got a good Memphis barbecue recommendation there from Cam. So I got some places to stop by. All three of those guys need to try the shrimp cocktail before you guys leave Indianapolis, though, Scott.
Yeah, none of them had tried the shrimp cocktail from St. Elmo's.
Is that right?
Oh
Okay.
yeah. So
Yeah,
we were
that's
like,
pretty
well, you got to tell Coach that, man.
I did have a question, Scott, because it's been kind of a crazy 2 years here. The last as athletic director, obviously you take over and you have the COVID situation, and now all of a sudden the Big Ten is adding USC and UCLA. And I'm just curious, in your time, I know you've been at Indiana a long time, but in your last couple years as the athletic director, what have you learned, or what's been your biggest takeaway from these past couple years? Because it's been crazy, man.
It has been crazy. It really has. We talked about that. We had an athletic director meeting yesterday, a Big Ten athletic director meeting, and we talked about just really going back to when I took over 2 years ago, all the transformational change happening in college athletics with COVID and all the different things going on. And now with this expansion, I think the biggest thing that I've learned is how close the Big Ten is. And the Big Ten athletic directors, Commissioner Warren, the faculty reps, the presidents, it's a really unique situation. It's different than probably most people think in terms of we compete so hard on the field and on the court and the pool that you would think that maybe those rivals translate into the business side of things. But the collegiality, just the way we strategize together, it's one of my favorite parts of my job. And I've said this before publicly, and people wouldn't probably understand it, but like Mike Lubinsky, the athletic director of Purdue, is one of my closest friends in the business, and he is a great confidant and someone that I can rely on. And again, and that just is a kind of a small example of what the Big Ten does. And so I guess growing up at IU, I knew the Big Ten was strong, but at this level, I just didn't realize how close everyone is and how we work together really to do what's best for the conference, but obviously what's always best for our student athletes.
I can say this. One of the things that I've seen, there just seems to have been a calm since you've taken over. It's like things were just really turbulent, and you've been able to calm the waters during a tough time, during all the stuff we just mentioned, COVID and all that stuff. First of all, that's crazy in itself. But just period. There was with basketball, with all the things, it was so turbulent. And it just seems like the waters have just calmed down. Things are going well. And you've got young All-American freshmen on the baseball team. And, you've got the women's basketball team. The men's basketball team we're expecting high things of as well. So the waters are really – I think you've done a hell of a job in just calming things, because to me that I removed myself before I graduated here, but I removed myself from that, and I just look and it's like, wow, it's just been a lot of mistakes along the way by different people here and there, but it just seems like for whatever reason you've been able to kind of calm that out, and I don't know how, but
well, I appreciate you saying that. I think you've got a great administrative team in the department. We talk a lot about playing the card we dealt the best we can, and not to get too high or too low. And we do talk about trying to be the calm in the eye of the storm, because there's only certain things you can't control, and at times you can sit back and say, what are we going to do about the COVID stuff and the masking and all the different things, or just challenges financially, but what we try to do is just be methodical, make certain that we really trust our process, and then really have a vision for what success looks like, and then focus on that. And so, like I said, I've always looked forward to going to work, but I've never looked forward to going to work as much as I do now. And a big part of that is to be the people I work with. And I just maybe it's because I was a basketball manager growing up. I think I'm
with LJ Wright.
Yeah, there you go.
The guy I went to high school with.
Yeah, I didn't realize you went.
Yeah,
LJ's a great guy.
His dad was my athletics director.
Yeah. Well, and I think that, really helped instill in me that team concept. And I know it's not about me, it's about all of our team working together with a common vision. And that's kind of stating it simply. But I'm glad to hear you say you feel like it's calm, because that's what we're trying to do.
Well, it's palpable. You can see it. I mean, because it had been so turbulent. But speaking of basketball, man, a lot of excitement, a lot of anticipation, a lot of expectations, as there always have been in the past, but people weren't allowed to have those in the last several years. They feel like they can have them now, and with good reason. Man, I think that Indiana's one of the favorites to win the Big Ten this year, and that's Mike Woodson has done a hell of a job in a short period of time.
Yeah, he really has, and he's been what I would say for us is a perfect fit, team internally. It's back to what I was talking about earlier. He's got a real vision that we share in terms of where we want the program to be comprehensively, and he's been. I said this at his press conference. I introduced him. He's really a good person. And I think that's one of the things that in our department, really university, is really important. You have good people that have good intentions and make things happen. And he's just been great. I think people feel it when you talk to him. He's genuine. He cares. You can see the players and how they just have embraced him and trust him. And if they have to back and forth, he's got a knack for holding them accountable and being demanding, but at the same time maintaining a high level of respect, where there's a real, confidence with the players that they know he's got their best interests at heart. And so hopefully that all translates to success, which we want on the court. And we feel really good about his roster management, which is tough with the transfer portal and all the changes in college athletics. But yeah, he's doing a fantastic job. And there's no question that our staff is really strong, and we feel really good about where we are.
Yeah, you talk about a calm, cool cat. That's Mike Woodson. He does not. If he gets excited, I don't want to be around him. He's a big old boy. Dustin mentioned it earlier. UCLA and USC joining. That is exciting. It's all kinds of things. I'm imagining. All right, Indiana at Pauley Pavilion. Wow, how cool is that going to be? Indiana in the Rose Bowl. I mean, there's just a lot of excitement comes with that. In addition to the fact that USC and UCLA are joining the Big Ten, now you're a bi-coastal conference, or just all kinds of things are going with this.
I agree. It's very exciting. And to be totally honest with you, I knew USC and UCLA were great institutions, but just throughout this process, I learned a lot more. And boy, they're a perfect fit all around. And again, knew enough to be dangerous, but didn't know in depth. I didn't realize how strong academically they are. And again, just the same values and principles that we have in the Big Ten, they just fit in perfectly. And obviously their athletic success speaks for itself. So, I think it's great for a conference, and it's great for our student athletes, and it'll be a great fit.
I know obviously they contacted the Big Ten, and then once the Big Ten does, Coach or Commissioner Warren does what he does, he reaches out to the universities. How surprised were you when you heard that was a possibility? That one had to be, even as an athletic director, that one had to be kind of off the radar.
Yeah, probably a little surprised when
Really?
you reached out, particularly because of the logistical distance. You kind of think about conferences as being more regional. That's just all changed, and conferences are becoming more national. So it did and it didn't. But again, once we dug into it, it just was, as I said, a great fit, and it is exciting. I think it's an exciting opportunity for our student athletes to be able to travel out west and to play at historic institutions like that. And just the student athletes that I've talked to so far, they really are, as I said, excited and really embrace it as well.
I meant to ask somebody earlier, I didn't get to. Man, will Bill Walton get to do UCLA games anymore? and now, is he going to call the Big Ten the Conference of Champions?
That's a great question.
Oh, man. Dustin, anything else?
Yeah, real quick, Scott, and this is, to me, my experience on this show. I only usually host once or twice a week, but and this goes for today as well. Every time we've had a student athlete from Indiana on the show, Just great, tremendous student athletes, great character, great personality, always incredibly polite. I mean, it doesn't matter whether it's basketball, football, swimming, tennis, whatever the case might be. They've always been great student athletes. I have to imagine that makes your job a lot easier, knowing that you're working with such great student athletes.
Absolutely, and I appreciate you saying that. And we're real proud of our student athletes. Obviously, they're not perfect. They're young people. They're in the process of growing, but that's why I feel I have a job. That's why we do what we do. And there's no better feeling to see student athletes come in. You can look at Taiwan Mullen as a perfect example.
Yeah.
Taiwan came in from Florida, and to see him blossom and grow and become the young man that he's become, and he just represents everything we want in a student athlete. And, you know, there's lots of times we talk about the business of college athletics, transformation, financial implications of things, and expansion and all that. And when it comes down to it, it's really about the kids and seeing them grow and maximize their opportunities. So I appreciate you saying that. I'm really proud of our kids and really proud of the department in terms of making certain that we keep the main thing. And sometimes it's hard to do in this business, but we want to make certain we're doing all we can to help our young people grow. And I think they feel that.
It's an excellent job, because I can remember back in the 90s and 80s, at a lot of universities, that wasn't the case, and it's greatly changed. So great. Looking forward to a great season across the board. Soccer, everything. No, I didn't even mention soccer. Get soccer. How do I not mention that? Todd does such a great job there. But looking forward to another great soccer season. Of course, another college cup. I think that's like a rule. It doesn't. Is Indiana just given an automatic qualification to the college cup now? I think they've been to 22 out of 44, whatever it is. It's absolutely astonishing.
I tell you, and the great thing is they don't take it for granted. You know, they work so hard, and you just have a system in place that obviously you play to that system. And they're an example of really what we try to do with all our programs in terms of putting in, not just building a team, but you've got a program philosophy, a system that if you play to that and you work hard, you've got good things coming your way. So I'm really proud of it.
And I don't want to keep it, but I know I didn't bring up NIL, but that's something you've also had to navigate. I mean, man, I don't know. You've had to navigate everything possible. COVID, NIL, the transfer portal, now the transfer portal going whatever it's going to be. And managing NIL while still trying to bring funds into the school, which I know that is a very important thing, because a lot of those funds are for scholarships and things like that. That's a tough thing to balance everything.
It is. But it's back to what we talked about earlier. That NIL was going to happen. And so realizing that we need to make certain that we're good at it. We need to make certain that for our student athletes, that we do all we can to educate them, that we put them in the best position to succeed, to build their brand, to make certain that we're known as a school that really wants our student athletes to succeed in that area and embrace it. And so that's what we've done. And again, proud of our team and the work that we've done in the NIL front. And our student athletes have grown and benefited from that. And again, we just have to make certain that whatever card we're dealt, we play the best we can. And make certain we have a plan for everything that comes our way and execute that plan. So NIL is just one of those cards were dealt, and we're playing the best we can, and it's been good for our student athletes.
Well, Scott, I think you've done a hell of a job,
man. It means a lot, Jim.
Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate what you guys do for us. It means a lot.
We're glad to. I'm fortunate and glad to be able to do this for a living. I love it. It's just I'm better than digging ditches. I can tell you that, baby.
We appreciate it.
But I enjoy it. But I cannot tell you how much I appreciate having Scott Dolson, athletic director for Indiana, joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat. Lots more coming up. We'll be back with it from Lucas Oil Stadium as the Big Ten Media Days continues right after this.
Thanks for doing that.